Oh no, a complete collapse. Martial law. Oh my gosh, I've got to get out of here. I've got to get to my cabin. This is it. Okay, don't panic. Assess the situation and get the right gear. It's time to get out of Dodge. A game of post-economic survival. Escape the city using your gear and your wits. By Killswitch Bunker Games, LLC. Available on Amazon, Killswitch Bunker Games. Like us on Facebook.
Killswitch Bunker.
You've just joined the Prepper Broadcasting Network, where we promote self-reliance and independence. The views and opinions expressed are strictly those of the host or their guests. Visit us in the interactive chat room at prepperbroadcasting.com.
Everyone out there in internet radio land, and welcome to Prepping Up with the Joneses, where each week we tackle the toughest questions in the prepper arena. I'm your host, Dave Jones, the NBC guy, nuclear, biological, chemical, and I want to be your personal weapon of mass instruction. I promise my listeners two things each week. First, that they'll learn something new, and second, that they'll be entertained in the process. So here we go with show number 22. I think it's 22. Uh-oh. Did you guys hear that? Hello, everyone out there in internet radio land, and welcome to Prepping Up with the Joneses, where each week we tackle the toughest questions in the prepper arena. Okay, I'm good. I got it in the chat room. G-Man said I'm good. Okay. So you guys heard the intro. It's the same one as last week and every other week for the last 22 shows. So if you missed the intro, just go back to one of the other shows and listen to that. Anyway, I am live here with Guy. We're back for part 2 of emergency plans. I did not get through all my questions last week, and Guy was gracious enough to come on again and take this abuse. Guy, are you out there? Hello, Guy.
Oh, now I'm unmuted.
Oh. Now, there you go. See?
Now I'm here.
Gotta find that mute button. Yeah, technical. If it wasn't for technical issues, we'd have no issues around here.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, so, okay, a little funny story. So I bought this thing at Ross, Ross discount store, and it was some weighted gloves with a P90X video in it, right? And
okay.
I'm more of a sweating to the oldies kind of guy, but I thought, well, it's a Kempo workout, which is like a light version of Taekwondo. Kempo. Anyway, yeah. I thought it would be a good way to get back into working out, so I played it for the first time today. Man, am I hurting. I am hurting. And I had some stomach distress.
Is pretty rough.
Well, yeah, I did not do the whole 50 minutes of it. Let me tell you that. So I had some stomach distress, some nausea, some diarrhea, and I said to my wife, I think I'm allergic to working out.
Hey,
she said, no, I think it was what you had for breakfast. So anyway, that's just a little funny story happened in my life. And then I got to talk to Alex, my son, from Japan today. His birthday is on Tuesday. He'll be 22. Can you believe that? 22.
Wow.
I know. He's liking Japan a whole lot, but he's not liking the Air Force too much. So we'll see how that goes.
Uh-oh.
Hey, but this is not what the show is about. The show is about emergency plans. Hey, what's gone on in your life since we last talked last week, Guy?
Well,
Anything
I had
new?
a emergency fair today in Ashburn that went pretty well. It was their first one.
Cool.
We had about 150 folks there, and seemed like pretty much, most of the folks were actually interested in learning how to be ready for, dealing with emergency situation kinds of things. So it was pretty fun. It was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So were there, how many other vendors were there? I assume you were like a vendor.
Well, there were, trying to think, there were probably about 10 other groups of folks. They had, most of it was, there was actually some outside, so I'm not sure, but they had fire department guys there, sheriff department.
Oh, okay.
Thrive was there. Holly and Mike were there. And then they had somebody that was doing CPR, and a Loudoun County EMS kind of person, emergency management stuff or something. And but it was pretty interesting. I mean, it was a little challenging because because of it being in the church, we couldn't really recommend stuff, so that made it interesting in trying to talk. I couldn't tell them, hey, somebody that I know has this.
Yeah.
This is what I would recommend. So I don't know. It was different. But it was interesting. It was fun.
Yeah.
Gave a class on the emergency. Are you ready? Which you can also get off of my website if you're interested. But actually, since I'm putting in plugs, I do want to plug my veterans home, if I may.
Sure. Tell us all about it.
When I got out, I started seeing a lot of homeless folks, and started talking to them, and they are, most of them, or a lot of them, were veterans. So I just thought that was unsat, and I've decided. But the thing I don't like about homeless shelters is it's basically they bring them in for a night, feed them, clothe them, whatever, and then they kick them out the next day. And to me, that's not really helping.
Yeah.
So my idea is to actually bring these veterans, wherever they are in the world, to our home, and we basically, we take them from the street till they're back on their feet, and they have their own place, they've got their own job, they're back being a productive person that they need to do. So
you kind of do a little outreach with them. So you kind of bring them in, get them hooked up with the next step. So you're just not like a storage facility for people.
No. The whole idea is to get them back on their feet. So because we want to get them jobs, we want to get them training. In Somerset, Kentucky, where it's going to be, there is a VA outreach hospital in that town. The VA itself is in Lexington, which is about 40 minutes north of us. So, if they got to go to VA, then we'll take them to VA. But there's also a local college there. Of course, the University of Kentucky is up in Lexington also. So, we will work with the VA and other folks to get them, in school. We'll get them, healed. If they're on drugs because of, their PTSD stuff or whatever, we'll get them off of that. So that's the whole concept. It's not just for folks that are in that location. It's, we will go, or we will bring them to us. So if anybody can help, I posted the link to my GoFundMe site. I'm still waiting on the paperwork to actually get the 501c part to the IRS. I already have the incorporation and stuff. We already have the board of directors and things. But this is the funds to basically take us to the point to where we can, start soliciting from, because my idea is to actually go to the corporate, to the IC down here in DC, and start talking to these, what do we call it? The military industry complex.
Yeah.
Like the Northrop Grumman, the MITRE, Boeing, because the idea is that a lot of these guys, once we get them scored away, can actually become, and work for these folks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it helps them, but it helps our veterans, and that's where I want to target the most of the funding and stuff. But I kind of got to get through this little hurdle that I'm in right now, so that that can be deducted from the taxes and all that stuff.
Yeah. I'm on your GoFundMe page right now. Do you want to say it for the people that are listening? They're not in the chat room. Save the site. Oh.
The web address is https://www.gofundme.com/M8EJAHQJ. I think if you go to the GoFundMe site and
you can find it
for the GLS Veteran Home, I think it will actually show up.
Okay, so it's GLS Veterans Home, and that's how they can find it. And you can donate right there on that page. And it has a real nice graphic of your facility. That's really
that's
cool.
That's a kind of a artist concept of the rooms. The corner that's actually kind of missing will be actually a kitchen. So the part that's not there, I think, is the kitchen.
Okay.
That was the closest picture, and I'm not a graphics guy, so.
Yeah. Hey, well, that sounds great.
That's the. What's the word? That's the
rendering?
Artist concept. I'll get the word out here in a minute.
There you go.
Artist concept of how each of the rooms will be. Because basically it's, this is their home. I don't want this to be just like, barracks or whatever.
Right.
I hated living in the barracks with, 150 of my not so closest buddies. So, the whole idea is to help them not just put a Band-Aid on a second chest wound.
Right.
So. But,
hey, since we're talking about all different stuff, do you want to do the news right now? Because we're not quite into the emergency plan yet, so let's talk a little bit about news. Now,
there is one item that I wanted to talk about.
Go ahead.
I was looking at the weekly drought update, and then as of today, pretty much everything from Iowa to California is yellow or red or orange.
Dang.
A big chunk of Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, New Mexico, Utah, and Arizona is in a severe drought, extreme drought. But basically it's, so North Dakota is almost completely yellow. South Dakota is almost completely yellow. Big chunks up in Wisconsin, Virginia, the Carolinas, Florida, Georgia, big chunk of Alabama are all yellow. So it's abnormally dry. It's either abnormally dry to extreme. And then there's a section of Oklahoma and the Panhandle that's exceptionally dry.
Wow.
That's not good.
So we
y'all.
might. No, that's not good. Might have a chance to rotate some of that food we've been stockpiling.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
At least the water.
Dang. Yeah, people should look at things like that. And what I have is things are going crazy in China. I mean, the trade war is continuing, full tilt. If you haven't noticed, the stock market dropped, like 300 and some points. And I heard one analyst Friday say that we actually hold all the cards that if China does anything, we can bring their economy to its knees. So I don't know if that's true. You never know who to believe, right?
I don't think I can believe that. They have too much. They own too much of our debt.
Right.
If they call the note, we're pretty much out of luck.
Well, and then at the same time, their foreign minister for defense, their defense minister, goes to Moscow and supposedly shores up a strategic alliance, and I'm making quotation marks with my fingers here, with Russia, which is like, one thing we could always count on was the Chinese and the Russians not getting along. Now it appears not so much. So they've agreed to do some joint exercises, and the Chinese have launched a massive naval exercise in the South China Sea with about 40 ships. Japan has activated their first Marine Division, their version of, and that's the first time since World War II. Yeah. And of course, everything is still going nuts over in the Middle East, where Hamas is promising to pay if anybody gets hurt or killed in the riots that are occurring with the Palestinians.
Yeah.
So there we go. A nice, quiet world. About the only one we haven't heard from is Kim in a while. So, hey, and that leads me into one of my shows that is coming up on the 14th. Let's see. Shoot. I don't have don't hold me to this. No, not the 14th. I'm having, that Sentinel group. It's that, let me see if I can find the webpage. It's those people that it's a subscription-based Intel type page. Sentinel Intel Group. If you Google their website, you'll be able to see. I'm having one of the founders of this on the show, and he's going to talk to us about what they do, where they get their information, and the services that they provide, which is pretty darn cool. Yeah. And then I'm also going to have Danny Santana back from BioLite, and that's next week. BioLite is the people that make that stove that generates electricity, but they have they have a new product that's a very small solar panel and like a control module. Now get this. In this control module is an FM radio, okay, a thing to charge like cell phones, okay. It also has an MP3 player, and it has a light. And out of this control module, you can string 3 other lights, and one of them is a motion-activated sensor light.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy crap. Yeah, I know. And it all comes in one little kit. I mean, it's pretty fantastic. So we're going to have him on next week, and I know he's going to bring a bunch of discounts like he did the last time. So maybe you guys can... Yeah, maybe you can spend your tax refund money if you got a tax refund, because I'm doing my taxes right now. And God darn, I have talked about this. I'm planning to retire from the day job next January. And I have no problems. I'm not worried about my health. I'm not worried about making enough money. I don't have it. The biggest worry I have is my damn taxes.
Yeah.
Now, is that crazy?
Yeah.
That should not be a worry as you go into retirement.
Right. Yeah. I'm not gonna.
Anyway.
I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I know. I know. I don't mind paying my fair share. I just want to see a little return on my investment.
I don't mind paying my fair share, but I think everybody should pay their fair share.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, we're coming up on our first break, but before we go into break, I got to tell you about a brand new show on Prepper Broadcasting Network. It's going to be on Monday nights, and it's called Rants, Ravings, and Musing. Okay? And it's going to be the new Monday night show, not this Monday, but next Monday it's going to start. So definitely tune in for that. That's going to be pretty interesting. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Guy, and I promise we're going to talk the rest of the emergency plans after this.
It shouldn't be all about outdoor survival. Think prospering outdoors. Prospering outdoors is more than just getting by. Prospering outdoors is about having the quality gear or supplies you want when you need it. From camping and hunting supplies to prepping and survival kits, you'll find it all at prosperingoutdoors.com. You don't have to search for that hard-to-find item. With over 35 categories to choose from, Prospering Outdoors has it or will find it. Save time and money. Surprise yourself with lower prices on quality brand names at Prospering Outdoors. If it's outdoors, hunting, camping, prepping, or surviving a horde of zombies, you will prosper with the quality you expect at the price you want. Visit prosperingoutdoors.com.
Looking for an all-natural way to stay healthy? Well, look no further. LumaTea.com is where you will find over 55 different healthy herbal teas. We use only the finest herbs that are cultivated with no pesticides, fungicides, or herbicides, and are hand-selected. At LumaTea.com, we offer a variety of tri-packs for preppers, survivalists, and adventurers that are great for backpacks and bug-out bags, or just to keep around the house. For example, one of our tri-packs includes an antibiotic herbal tea, an herbal tea for pain, and an immune booster herbal tea. Luma Tea is a must for every prepper and household. See all our teas and what Luma Tea can do for you. Visit us at LumaTea.com.
Okay, we are back, and I'm here with Guy, and we're going to talk emergency plans because that's what I promised you tonight. We kind of got off to a little bit of technical difficulty start, which always throws us into a tizzy here, but we're back on. The I assume the player is working because everybody in the chat room says they hear us now, and I guess you can go back and hear the first part of the show later if you missed it. So you didn't miss much. It was just me and Guy talking back and forth, and you get to hear about the veteran home, which is really cool, Guy. That is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited about getting that started.
Yeah. Hey, let's see where I left off last week. I think I'm down to the question where it says, what is a good bug out location? What makes a good bug out location? I mean, when you're looking for a good bug out location, what do you look for, Guy?
It's tricky. That's a trick question because
it's
going to depend on what the circumstances are. In one of my examples that I created, that I show, it's a flood scenario. And in the flood scenario, even though you may not be impacted by the actual flood waters, if the town or something, the area around you becomes impacted, because when you have a flood, you have secondary contaminants, fuel tanks, sewage systems, everything basically winds up in the water. Power lines go down, etc. So even if your house is not actually flooded, you could be impacted and therefore have to bug out. In that particular instance, I found a location in a cheap motel that's miles away from, where they actually live, where the impact area is, so that they can survive. They can continue to function. They have, all the necessities that they need, but it's not in their house. So that's one instance. Another instance could be like if you have a fire, like a wildfire, like out in California. Those are usually case by case or individual. But if, for example, it's like a stuff hits the fan kind of scenario where that what I call civilized veneer has been eliminated, and you've got crazies coming out of the woodwork, gangs, thugs, whoever, neighbors that you never thought would be coming to your house trying to steal stuff because they don't have anything. And you actually have to leave and be protected. Then I look for places that I can defend. I have to look at my security. So, and I find places that I can blend into the surroundings. In Eve's book, I think that she's got coming out, we talked about security, and we talked about the ability to hide like campers and stuff. Campers and tents and pop-up trailers and those big RVs, which are basically a hotel on wheels, those become targets. And they are also provide a false sense of security.
Yeah.
Because, it's basically aluminum siding with, like a 1-inch board maybe. So it's not going to stop anything. I mean, you can pretty much drive a nail through it and then,
Well, yeah. In one side,
you could probably shoot a 22 through it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, big target.
Yeah.
So you have to evaluate the situation. So that's why when I talk about the plan, when you pick the topic of what your plan's going to be about, that topic is associated with that bug out location potential.
Okay. So your plan is based around a scenario, and you select the scenario, and then you create your plan from that scenario.
Yes, you have to start, and it's like I say, I'm probably starting to get repeated, but
no.
The thing with the plan, the first thing that you want to do a plan on is what keeps you awake at night.
Exactly.
Okay, so you select the plan for the thing. You select the topic for the plan of what scenario you envision that would keep you up at night, and that's where you start, because then some of the basics are going to be the same. We all need food, water, and shelter, so that kind of pretty much spreads across any other plan or contingency from the original plan. So the other thing is to evaluate where you are, because where we buy a house, and unless you actually bought a house based on the fact of you intended to homestead there, or and build defensive perimeter and all that stuff, a lot of people today live in subdivisions.
Yeah.
Or even worse, apartments or condos or those kinds of things. So
right.
So security is going to be your number one thing. And I was talking to some folks today because they were talking about, oh yeah, I put this big double bolt thing on my door, and I'm like, and you got windows? Well, yeah. And I'm like, and so why do you put the big double bolt thing on your front door? Because essentially, without something to secure the building, you can have whatever you want on that front door.
Right.
They're just going to come to the window.
Hey, we got a question in the chat room. What's the most likely thing in your area? What would be the most likely thing in our area? Well, we live pretty close to each other.
Yeah. Well, see, this is where you and I geographically have things. So, okay, so the most likely thing for my area would be the road gets flooded. Howesville Road will flood, and it floods on both ends. So there is a potential that you cannot drive on Howesville Road. Now, there is an alternate route that goes over the mountain across Friesland Drive, and that's a tricky road.
I think I got lost up in there one time.
Yeah, I did too. I when I do that road, I put a destination somewhere in Chantilly and let that go, because that's not mapped very well up there. But if there was like a big one, like we're talking more closer to stuff hitting the fan kind of scenario thing. NBC kind of event, Dirty Bomb in DC or Ashburn or EMP.
Any kind of EMP.
Chemical or biological. I am on the back side of, whereas you are almost on the front side.
So, not really.
Well,
I'm closer to the top. Yeah, it's. Well, let's not argue 30, 40
Well, I'm
feet,
just saying the difference between these two is you have a lot less height between you and DC. Not to mention the fact you're a little closer than I am, but I'm on the backside. Now that was some of the things that I kind of took into account when I selected this house when I did move up here. Because I have basically I'm on the west side of the Appalachian Mountain Trail.
Yes.
So I have to the east, I have quite a bit of protection. If something came from the Winchester area, I still have some, but I have the Shenandoah Valley right here because I live almost a rock throw from the Shenandoah River.
You said your bug out location is how far away is it? Is it
it's about 9 hours.
Gas for you?
Yeah, it's a little over a tank. It's a little over a tank.
Okay.
So, but I have
because that's kind of the rule of thumb, right? A tank, one
I
tank
have 15.
Of gas.
I have 15 gallons of gas in gas cans that I would be able to. But see, okay, so that brings up a very good point.
There you go.
The trigger that makes you execute your plan is a critical piece that you have to take into consideration. If you wait till the zombies are at the door, you've waited too late. Okay?
Yeah, or those people that waited until the hurricane was bearing down on them in Florida, and then they got out on the highway.
Yeah. It's like, what are you smoking up there?
Are you going to wait till the floodwaters are at your door to go find your ladder to get up on your roof? It's like, what the hell are you thinking?
Well, and it's just like, we just did here on the show, a few minutes ago, we did the current events kinds of stuff, okay?
Yeah. You got to look ahead.
You got to keep your finger on the pulse. Don't get wrapped up in it, but keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on. And if you start to see something that doesn't look kosher, get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Right. The worst is going to happen. You're going to burn some gas and some time going over to someplace that you want to be at anyway. So,
I talked to this one lady who was looking at property in Virginia, and they got some, or West Virginia. And she said, we're going to put a little cabin on there. And, that reminds me, I'm going to have that tiny homes guy on too. But, and I said, so other people might think you're crazy, but what's the worst that can happen? You have a summer vacation home.
Exactly.
You have a retreat.
Yeah.
A place that you can go relax, get away from technology, and camp out. I mean, it's so much of a no-brainer.
Yeah, so so that's the thing. So I'm not going to wait if they talk about something going down inside the like in my book Return to Life, Texas Border Trouble. They start attacking soft targets, and one of those targets is the metro. They attack the Pentagon Station, and they attack LaFont Plaza. As soon as I hear that, I am out of here. I'm not going to wait until something's happening. That's going to be my trigger to leave.
And what that does is it causes a cascading effect on other transportation hubs. They're either going to be shut. Yeah, it's going to go crazy. So they're going to either be shut down, slowed down. I mean, commerce is going to be at a standstill for a period of time. And then the people, they don't want to be the next target, so they're going to stay away,
Yeah.
That's
the thing is if you get enough of those, it's going to start affecting the economy. And eventually you'll have a financial collapse. So that's why I say, to me, that would be the trigger to get out of Dodge.
Sure. And we talked about this this past week. In your book, the selection of people in your group and what you do when people don't perform or they break the rules of your group, your constitution.
Yeah. So let me go through first. So let me go through first the list of things that you need to consider for everybody. So the first thing that you need to consider or take, to grab or get the information for is you need to get the facts about the location that you're going to be at, the event that you're planning, that the plan is designed for, the resources that you will need to include survival skills to survive that event, modes of transportation that you will use during the event, how will you get from A to B if you need to, what route you'll be taking, what medical treatment facilities, medical personnel that you will have access to, the list of people that will be with you, the actions that will be taken in case of prisoners, should you have that, communication methods, how are you going to communicate? You need challenge passwords, you need frequencies, call signs, and then you'll need a list of point of contacts. So back to the personnel that will be with you.
Well, wait, let me stop you here. That was a great list. What is your email address? Because people are going to have questions after they took notes on that.
It's a guy at greatlivingsources.com.
And you're putting it in the chat room. I can hear you.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. Yeah. So,
okay, guy at greatlivingsources.com. Okay.
Yeah. So if you go to if in the book Return to Life, so basically it's the worst case scenario.
How can they get your book?
If they email me, they can get it. It's purchasable on Skype or on Square. I finally got off my butt, and I am getting it put back on Amazon again after my other publisher. Okay. So it's being published under my own publishing company now, finally.
Oh, good.
So it'll be back on Amazon and Kindle and, all that good stuff. So, but in Return to Life, basically what happens, Iran bombs Israel bombs Iran, and all the rest of them bomb each other. So basically, all the big cities have been wiped out. There's no governments anymore, and basically you've got these little enclaves of, people trying to survive. Some of them were ready, some of them weren't. The main character obviously was. But his initial plan was only to take care of basically what I call his troops, his ranch.
Right.
In fact, he knew he needed some extra ones, so just before the balloon went up, he started to try and get additional folks. He had already prepared for all of them. He already had the stuff stockpiled. He just needed the bodies. So, but then over time, others either heard of them or, showed up at their doorstep. And, initially he basically started letting everybody in. Well, the problem is not everybody had the same philosophy as the rest of them, and they weren't working for the group, they were working for themselves. So he started to have to make hard decisions as to who would stay and who would not. So one of the things that you need to do, especially if you're going to have a group of folks, is establish a list of what your guidelines or rules or whatever you want to call them.
Right. I call that the Constitution. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to develop your own Constitution. These are the laws, and everybody signs it. Everybody that's in your group signs it. It means that they agree with what they're signing up for.
Okay,
hey,
I disagree with that signing stuff. Okay, we need
why?
The thing we need to get away from is there having to be a legal ramification, because in this type of scenario, there are no lawyers. Lawyers are a blight on society, and if anybody on here is a lawyer,
that they agree with the Constitution.
No, it has to be agreed, and they have to have the integrity. Because what is it going to do if they sign that? If you tell me, because they don't come in. So let me finish the little thing real quick. So basically,
we got 30 seconds.
Okay, well, maybe we can do it when we come back from the break then.
Listen, you got another question in the chat room too about medical qualifications, and we talked about that. So we're going to talk about this as soon as we come back from break. If a person is like a doctor or a brain surgeon or something like that, and they don't fit your values, what do you do? So we're gonna talk about that as soon as we come back from break.
The Trading Post in the Woods is a team of disaster response and survival experts responding to over 20 major disasters, ready and standing by for the next disaster when it happens. TradingPostInTheWoods.com created the Survivalists Natural Remedies Kit and the American Heritage Kit for those preparing on their own to survive any disaster. We can help you learn the remedies your great-grandmother used effectively and train you in what to do when disaster strikes. We've encountered needless death, helped masses of the unprepared, people frozen in fear, people lost, separated, and afraid. Be informed, share our simple survival products, and learn the lessons we've learned in the aftermath of disasters. Be prepared for the unthinkable. Don't be the victim. Visit TradingPostInTheWoods.com. That's TradingPostInTheWoods.com.
If you're off the grid by choice or by disaster, you need a Greennovative G-Mag portable power cell. This amazing saltwater or biofuel activated device makes power anytime, anywhere, in any weather, day or night. Simply add a little bit of salt and water or urine to the unit, and it instantly makes electricity. G-Mag will recharge 6 AA batteries in about 4 hours repeatedly. It has an indefinite shelf life and will recharge an unlimited number of batteries. Get yours at greennovative.com, and when you need it, you'll be glad you did.
Looking for an all-natural way to stay healthy? Well, look no further. LumaTea.com is where you will find over 55 different healthy herbal teas. We use only the finest herbs that are cultivated with no pesticides, fungicides, or herbicides, and are hand-selected. At LumaTea.com, we offer a variety of tri-packs for preppers, survivalists, and adventurers that are great for backpacks and bug-out bags, or just to keep around the house. For example, one of our tri-packs includes an antibiotic herbal tea, an herbal tea for pain, and an immune booster herbal tea. Luma Tea is a must for every prepper and household. See all our teas and what Luma Tea can do for you. Visit us at LumaTea.com.
Okay, we're back. Hey, and I heard Alan Riggs on there. He had a commercial. We were asking for everybody's prayers right now for Alan, because on Friday he went into the hospital, and he's having some heart problems. So he is a great guy, and he's the guy that does the G-Mags. Yeah, and just everybody out there, say a little prayer for him for his health right now. He's going through some tests, and he's going to come out of it okay. He's a fighter, though. He's a good guy. Retired Navy. He's a submariner, which I wanted to talk about those autonomous subs, but we don't have enough time for that. Dang. You know what? G-Man said that we can do a 2-hour show if we plan it out. So I think maybe sometime, Guy, we need to get the panel of experts together and do a 2-hour show. What do you think?
Oh, that sounds like an excellent idea.
Yeah. And I think we got enough of them that we could do a real great panel discussion and talk and do a 2-hour show.
I'm not sure 2 hours is enough, but but yeah, I think that'd be an excellent idea. So, okay, so let's go back to your question, okay? And you kind of tried to throw a curve at me too. So, and then you got me in trouble with Sabeth. So, in the book, basically this thought process came to me as I was writing this book, because I didn't really have an idea what I was going to write. I just had to write, and this is what happened. So, but the problem is, in this instance, there were very few but very hard, fast rules. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, everybody was part of the defense, whether they were a trigger puller or they helped to bring beans and bullets to the front, those that were pulling the trigger. Everybody was part of the defense, security, because in this kind of a situation, you are going to have guards. So you're going to be pulling, security. It's basically like an armed compound like it would be back in the old days. Right. The other thing is everybody works. Now, people would be able to do whatever they wanted as far as work. If you wanted to be a teacher, but you'd, never been a teacher, that's fine. You can learn to be a teacher. You can help because there's different things that we're going to do. So, but whatever it is, whether you're helping to run the livestock, helping to work in the greenhouse, you are going to do something. Okay. Right. In addition to part of the defense and rehearsing the drills that you need to react for an attack.
Right.
So, and initially that wasn't brought up, but eventually what happened, because of the problems that they faced, he created basically a committee. Instead of him being the only one, he created a committee, and the committee interviewed everybody before they came in. So that's why I say if you want to sign, that's fine. But in my opinion, that's not going to carry. That's going to carry as much water as a sieve, because it's not going to. Just the fact that they sign it isn't going to make a difference. If the integrity of the individual is not there, it doesn't matter if they sign it or not. Because what are you going to do? Take them to court? There are no courts. So the court is you are expelled from the community.
And wouldn't that be like a capital offense? I mean, you get expelled from the community. That's like,
it could be.
Man, it could be.
And there's a couple of instances. One was, basically they were just dirtbags, but a couple of them were these high societies who thought they were too good to do certain jobs. But for your community, you can do it however you want, but this is what you have to consider. If you don't, and if these people don't become part of the solution, you're going to start to divide your community, and you're going to start to get little enclaves of people within and cliques within the community,
right?
And eventually your community is going to die.
Yeah.
That's part of what's wrong with today.
Because it forms a cancer within.
Exactly.
And then you have divisions and separations. Yeah.
Right. The old adage, together we stand, divided we fall.
Right.
So, and it's harsh. And when I was a commander in the in the military, and then as a planner on the Army level operations or CFLIC operations, they're an OEF and OIF, I really realized how tough that decision is, because the general had to make calls. Sometimes they had an 80% loss of life margin.
Right.
So that's a hard call. And, if it's like, especially if it's...
Yeah. Let me explain this a little bit to the listeners.
Family.
So whenever you do a battle plan, you conduct analysis on what your expected casualty rate is. And what Guy is talking about, some of those plans came back with an 80% casualty rate. And the general had to decide whether to execute or not based on that. And it's a pretty tough call, especially when there's no people in your group that you're willing to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, but I want to keep moving forward here, because we've got to get through these questions. So we talked about value. If the people don't have your same value base, they're not going to work. They're not going to work in your group, and it doesn't matter what their skills are or how badly you need them.
Exactly.
It's almost like you got to have them fill out a questionnaire. Yeah. You almost have to have them fill out a questionnaire or interview them, like that group in your book did.
Right.
Interview them and decide whether or not to come in your group. Now, my next question: what threats do you see on the horizon right now? And is there something coming specifically that you think people should be aware of? I know that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's almost a trick question.
Well, I just want to get your opinion out there. It doesn't have
some
to
of
be
the
right,
things
wrong,
that I'm
different.
starting to see. Some of the things that I'm starting to see. The stuff with Korea is kind of concerning. The part that's in the book Return to Life, there is a part in there that is a fact. The fact is that there was an article in the Stars and Stripes when I was in Afghanistan that talked about a German scientist who had delivered a centrifuge to Iran that was capable of creating weapons-grade uranium. Okay, so that's a fact. So so we have Korea with nukes, we have Iran with nukes. Pakistan's got nukes, and there's a lot of other little bitty places that the security and stuff for those things. So one of the potentials that I could see is a lot of little dirty bombs. We were talking about Ashburn today because of the data centers and stuff up there. That's right here at our front door almost. So those are some of the things. I know that there's been a lot of talk about Ebola and some of these other nasty little bugs that are coming out. Those are some of the things that I could foresee coming up in the near future. This drought, if this drought continues, you're going to see ugly stuff going down. I know for a fact a month or so ago already, maybe even a little longer than that, in California, you basically had water Nazis. People were turning in their neighbors for using water. They washed their car, they mowed or watered their flowers or something. So
the United States is the breadbasket, and still is the breadbasket of the world. And if you think that a drought can't happen here, just read about the Dust Bowl. Do some research about the Dust Bowl, and you'll see that weather patterns. We're not immune to Mother Nature. I mean, we are at the whim of Mother Nature. And I was reading today about the Ring of Fire being more active. There's more active volcanoes, and what that will do is cause what's similar to a nuclear winter. And I think that's kind of what we're experiencing right now, because we didn't get above 34 degrees, and it was supposed to snow 2 inches. So,
yeah. So, but
I mean,
okay, so I think my worst case scenario, the worst case scenario that I could think of, is the government doing something very stupid.
Oh yeah.
Because the ability of the government
do that all the time.
Well, I mean, really stupid, like engaging martial law and almost becoming like Nazi Germany during World War, where the government actually becomes the aggressor.
Well, yeah, all you have to look back to is the Great Depression for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
not
that
even
would be
100
the worst
years
case scenario.
Yeah. Hey, and one last question, because we're just about out of time. We got about 4 minutes left. I want to talk to you, and I don't bring this up on very many shows because I don't. Everybody has their own religious background. I'm Christian Orthodox. I got to go to church tonight. Our Easter is tomorrow, so 11:30 tonight. I'm going to church, and anyway. Do you think that this prepper movement is being caused by some kind of a higher power? I mean, I have had people actually come up to me and say that they felt that God is telling them to get ready. Sometimes I wish God would tell me, because then I would understand why the hell I'm doing some of the stuff I'm doing. But do you think this is, like Noah?
Well, actually, we've already been. If you're a Christian and you read the Bible talks about the end of days in Revelations.
Yeah.
I think we are starting to see those days now. My opinion.
I agree. Yeah.
Because there's just too many things that link up with the predictions, I guess, if you will, in the Bible of what is supposed to occur in the end of days. And I mean, if you read that, which is really kind of what's led me to where I'm at now, because of what I read in those many years ago. So, I think we are seeing the beginnings of it. So, do I think that it's possible? Yes, I think it's possible that a higher power, as you called it, source, God, whatever you want to call it. I think the writing is on the wall, and it's time to, toe the mark. Yeah, you got to be ready for whatever happens.
Hey.
So,
hey, we need to do a 2-hour show. That's what's coming up in the chat room, because we have about 30 seconds left, Guy. I want to thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate it very much.
shows.
No, thank you for letting me put a plug in for my veteran home.
Sure. Absolutely. Hey, and everybody, stay safe out there for the next week. We'll see you back here next week. Same time, same internet channel. Thanks again, Guy, for coming on. Everybody, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It shouldn't be all about outdoor survival. Think prosper.
Today's broadcast has come to you through the courtesy of the Prepper Broadcasting Network. See our hosts, show schedules, archived programs, and more at prepperbroadcasting.com. Thanks for listening.
You work all day, then go home and make dinner. That's not fair, because making your dinner, that's our job. We don't work all day, then go home and do your job, so stop doing ours. Head into Buffalo Wild Wings for America's favorite wings, shareables, burgers, and more. Choose from 21 signature sauces and seasonings to take your dinner from mild to wild. But don't worry, we're dinner pros. If things get too wild, we've got dozens of beers on tap and a full bar to bail out your palate. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.